Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 career mode for the Austrian Grand Prix in Season 1. We have been rapidly improving the car as of late, but today there is going to be some rain in the race, so we need to put in a good time in qualifying. But before we get into that, you can see the R&D chart there and just how much we have improved since the start of the season, and we'll be looking to continue that trajectory over the next few races. So yeah, we do close up a little bit, but other news, we have a 5-place grid spot penalty after the collision with Hamilton last time out on the start line. That was deemed in a post-race investigation to be our fault, so we've taken a 5-place penalty for that. So other than that, we move on into Q1 and we get through with relative ease there, actually ahead of Max Verstappen, so we may need to bump up the difficulty on that one a little bit there, but we do make it through into Q2, as does Danny Kvyat, and Q2 we make it through once again, as well as Kvyat, so we both are having the pace this weekend. Kvyat just getting through, Danny P10, Ricciardo getting knocked out, which is a bit of a surprise, along with Leclerc, so yeah, a few surprise knockouts throughout Q1 and 2, but we move on now to Q3, the session that counts, and we'll see what we can do around the Red Bull Ring circuit. Home race for Red Bull, obviously, but it's kind of, I guess we're kind of a Red Bull team, AlphaTauri. Yeah, obviously everyone knows the connection. But anyway, we move on to the end of our first flying lap in qualifying. We'll see where this puts us relative to the order, and we are going to go into P5 as things stand, but that's only because 5 people have set time. So we're down in last 10th position in this session. So we move on to our second flying lap, and I've actually mistimed this a little bit, and you'll see when we get to the line, but we'll focus on this lap. Really nice run through this middle sector using all the road on the entry and exit of these corners, but we get a purple middle sector there, so that's what I was saying. Those corners really came together for us. They've typically been a bit tricky. We missed the apex there of the penultimate corner slightly, but we're around the final corner and across towards the finish line, and we'll see where we go on this lap. We go up to P5 again, so we seem to like that position at the moment. We actually have time for one more lap. That's what I mean by we are mistiming it a little bit, but we don't improve, and we are going to remain in position number 7 as the other cars cross the line in that time in between, and that's it.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Hamilton, Bottas and Sebastian Vettel. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So P7 for us, we're going to be starting in, what's that, P12 by the time the penalty is applied, but Hamilton will lead Bottas away from the line, and yeah, it's yeah, probably not where we wanted to start, but I mean, if we started P7, I'd be happy with that, so I guess P12 is really the best we could ask for. If we did get our best lap together, because our first sector on our best lap wasn't that great, we may have gained a 10th or 2, but honestly that wouldn't have made a huge difference at the end of the day. So let's just get into the race and see what we can do in the Austrian Grand Prix. Good qualifying by Lance Stroll.
This is it then, race day in Spielberg for this year's Austrian Grand Prix. The grandstands were a sea of red in 2019 thanks to the commemorative hats in honour of the late great Niki Lauda, who took home victory of course back in 1984. And it's a sellout crowd once again here today. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's begin by discussing Romain Grosjean. They're in for a tough race today. They'll be starting out of position due to a penalty from earlier in the weekend.
Yes, it's not the position you want to be in at the start of the Grand Prix. Penalties like this put you in amongst the traffic. but we know they have more pace than those around them, so I expect they'll make some strong progress in the first few laps.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Lance Stroll, and SAINZ, Perez, Albon, Kvyat, and Daniel Ricciardo. Ocon, the scientist, they've taken a grid penalty. Charles Leclerc and Norris. Raikkonen, GIOVINAZZI, Kevin Magnussen, and Nicholas Latifi. Grosjean and George Russell ends our grid lineup. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Alright, we will certainly try to aim for points today. Won't be too tricky to make up those couple of positions, but we'll see. But I mentioned rain earlier in the video. Well, I think I did anyway. But it's not on the forecast, but it is coming, so a bit of a spoiler alert there. But 2 sets of softs to the mediums is our strategy for the time being. Not knowing that there's rain coming, of course, at this point. But 5 red lights, and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's a good start for us, and we immediately go to the left-hand side to try and make a couple of overtakes round the outside of Alex Albon, who got a pretty terrible start, it has to be said. And we try and follow through with Esteban Ocon, who is currently battling away side by side with our teammate up ahead, as we're in a world of our own as we head up towards turn 3, and they're just going to remain side by side. Albon tries to come back around our outside, but we get the elbows out there and hold off the tyre Brits as we continue along this first lap. We've got an air gap in front of us once again, so hopefully that's not a sign of some bad pace in this race, but we'll get our act together and try and close up to Danny Kvyat as we continue through this opening lap, and we'll try and make a few more moves towards the middle of the top 10, where I think our pace should realistically put us. So we will just move on, and now we're going to try and close up to Danny Kvyat. Are we going to make a move? Not close enough this time, but we'll try and straighten up the exit. You can see how close we are through turn 3. That's a really strong part of the track for us. So let's see if we can get the slipstream as we head towards turn 4. We're going to go for a move here. We're close. We go up the inside, and we make that move on Kvyat. We missed the apex a bit there, but we do get ahead of our Russian teammate to move ourselves up into 9th position. Next up is Esteban Ocon. We go for a massive dive down the inside of Ocon, and we make that move stick as well. That was a really late move, and very lucky that we could get that stopped. So next up, Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, and we're going to have a look here. Not quite close enough. And there is the first inkling that there could be some rain coming in this race. 10 to 15 minutes away, so that's maybe just within our first stint as we go round the outside of Carlos Sainz into turn 4, and there's a bit of contact on the apex, bumps us wide, and Sainz fights back on the inside of turn 5. We'll have the inside line for turn 6. We'll see if we can get the position back from the Spanish driver. We made contact with him again there as he squeezes us right onto the curb, returns the favour from turn 4, and Sainz manages to hold onto the position. Great defence there from the Spanish driver in the McLaren, and we are still going to be stuck behind him for a little bit longer in this race. But we continue on, and we will try once again as we go for the dive into turn 3 this time, and we go very late on the brakes, manage to make that move. Sainz sees us coming, doesn't fight us terribly hard. But next up is Sergio Perez, but that racing point is very, very quick as Valtteri Bottas retires again. That's
starting to create a gap. They're starting to pull away from us.
Horrendous luck for Bottas. Sainz actually coming back at us now, and this is a little bit intentional because here comes Kvyat, and he is quite quick at this point. So I'm holding up Carlos Sainz intentionally to see if I can get Kvyat past him, because
mistake.
We couldn't gain any time on Perez. That race point is too quick, but we've squeezed out Carlos Sainz. Kvyat now will have the run. Sainz goes all the way to the right hand side. Now Kvyat will have the outside line for turn 4, so we'll see if he can make the same move that we did, but obviously it didn't work for us. As we look back, they're still running side by side, but unfortunately Sainz is going to hold on to that position. Kvyat though with a good try there.
Some weather is going to hit in around 5 minutes time, so stay on your toes.
But yeah, the weather is coming very soon, and I'm desperately trying to get Fiat ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then to try and pull away from the two of them, and hope that you know, we can get away with the double stack when we inevitably go on to the intermediate tyres. But it just isn't working out for us. I just cannot orchestrate this. Sainz just has enough straight line speed to hold on to these positions, and yeah, it just isn't working for us. So on board with Carlos Sainz here, and he's going into the pit lane. So Sainz is going on to another set of dries before before intermediates, but the rain is practically here. You know,
we're sat in 6th, Perez ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 5.5 seconds. They're on old softs. Daniel is behind you. Okay, the gap behind is 3.0 seconds. They're on old softs. The distance to the leader is 22.8 seconds. The pit window is open. Pit window currently open.
So we're just taking stock of the race.
Stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
But yeah, we've been called into box, but the light rain is here. We might as well just soldier on until it's time to switch onto the intermediate tyres. It'll only be a couple of laps generally, so yeah, we'll just continue on. We're on lap 21 at the moment, so you know, we've got a long way on these soft tyres, but they will go probably another 10 laps or so before we have any major issues, you know, in terms of having to worry about tyre wear. So yeah, we should be okay for the intermediate tyres in a few laps time. But yeah, everyone else coming into the pits for another set of dries, even as the rain is starting to fall.
Still on the right tyres for the time being.
But yeah, as we continue through the race, lap 27 now, and it's still not time to switch on to the intermediate tyres. And now we're being re-overtaken by Max Verstappen. He didn't quite manage to get the move done there, but we're on the podium as things stand, so if the switch to intermediate tyres comes anytime soon, we will be in with a shout for the podium, and just managing to hold off Verstappen there. But we'll see. Here comes Lance Stroll now into the first corner, down the inside of Verstappen as we've been holding up the Dutch driver, and Stroll, a bit of contact there with the Red Bull, and not able to make the move unfortunately for him. But Verstappen managed just to get through at turn 8, 7, whichever one that is. But yeah, we make a big mistake going in there. We're actually trying to come into the pits at that point, but it didn't work out for us. But look at the front left tyre; it is absolutely roasting. It really needs a break. Yeah, it's in puncture territory, or very near it. So it's 50-50. We could come in and then a few laps later need the intermediate tyres. We're not far away, I'm sure. But we have to keep adjusting the strategy as we go on. But yeah, there goes the racing point of Sergio Perez, and he is now gone and off in the distance. We continue on further and further into this race. The front left tyre now 78% worn, and yeah, this we can't be doing this. We're well into puncture territory now, and we still have no indication that the intermediate tyres will be any good. So I don't know what to do. We've got now the McLaren of Carlos Sainz, the car we were battling before the rain started falling, now catching up to us. This is how much time we've lost on these old tyres. And another new strategy. Now onto lap 33, 12 laps after the rain has started falling, and at this point I don't think the intermediate tyres are ever going to get used in this race. So we're going to box onto the medium tyres, and they'll probably at this point take us to the end if we've gone this many laps on the softs. Bit of a scuffy pit entry there, but yeah, we'll go onto the medium tyres. That will take us through to the end of the race.
Go.
We'll have one less pit stop than the rest of the field.
Let's get some heat into those tyres.
But we've already lost the time that we know doing one less pit stop would gain us. So yeah, I guess we just have to push on now and see what we can make of it. We're currently down in 17th position, but we are going to go to the end of the race on these tyres, and
you're doing well out there. Keep it up. minutes of rain.
And 10 more minutes of rain. I think we've made the right call here as we lose the back end a bit. It's been raining for so long and the track's not wet. It's not going to get wet for another 10 minutes of rain. So yeah, we don't need to worry about the intermediates.
Behind is 8.4 seconds.
The rain is not heavy enough for those.
Our gap to the car in front is 1.5 seconds.
But anyway, now we catch up to George Russell. He goes defensive as we head towards the first corner. We're going to power around the outside, late on the brakes, and we'll make that move on George Russell.
You made it look easy.
And we're up into 16th position in this race. So slow progress, but we'll continue on, see what we can make of it. And as we continue through, as pit stops are being made, we're up into 15th, and that number will just continue to get lower and lower.
It's not a perfect situation, but I don't think we have cause to move on to a different tyre yet.
Okay, that almost gave me a heart attack at the time. I thought
The gap to the car ahead is 2.4 seconds.
We might be needing the intermediate tyres, but we continue on now right on the back of Kevin Magnussen. We'll see if we can make a move round the outside. Is he going to leave the space? It's a bit tight there, but we give him a little nudge to the inside there, move him out the way on the entry to the corner, and we will manage to find our way around the outside of the Danish driver and move ourselves up into what will be 13th position. So 12th now, even as more cars make their final stops in this race. So no one touching the intermediate tyres that never got wet enough. And yeah, now
We'll be running on a dry track soon. Back to dry shortly.
yeah, things will be drying up. That was very good timing there, Sir Jeff. But yeah, we're currently in 12th position. Next up is Antonio Giovinazzi, but I assume he'll be stopping again. Yeah, he has to because he's on the softs. So yeah, Giovinazzi will be stopping again in this race, as will quite a few cars ahead of us.
Daniel is in the pits. Daniel in the pits.
Yeah, Kvyat now making his final stop. Unfortunately, the race hasn't gone too well for him. He lost, I don't know where or how, but he lost quite a bit of time from when the time we were battling with SAINZ. He's lost a few positions since then. I guess he might have got held up in the pits during the first round of pit stops. But yeah, he's lost out majorly there. But we're up into the top 10 as stops are being made, and we continue that forwards and up into 8th position as we're still chasing down Antonio Giovinazzi. So he's staying out very long on these soft compound tyres that he's got. The tyre wear on that Alfa Romeo must be alright, but we have a look to the outside as we head into turn 4. We'll see if we can make that same move we did on Magnussen. No, we can't quite get there, and Giovinazzi manages to hold on there, so great driving there by the Italian. But we're going to get the run on a later time as we now get the DRS open to the outside. We're a lot closer this time as we're trying to wriggle our way through on the left hand side. Not a lot of space there as we go wheel to wheel, but we make the move on Antonio Giovinazzi and up into what is now the top 5 as a few more cars have made their stops. Giovinazzi though trying to come back around the outside, and he gives us a good old fight, but not ever going to work in the Alfa Romeo, and Giovinazzi down into 6th. And eventually, as we continue on through the race, he will make another pit stop. But we move all the way to lap 50 in this race, and we're kind of in no man's land. We're nowhere near Sergio.
7.9 seconds.
Oh, he's a second or two behind us, and Lance Stroll is well up the road. And
You have P5, P5. This is your final lap of the race.
yep, that's all that happened. Nothing happened in the last 20 laps. We were catching Stroll very, very slowly, but yeah, there was nothing for us to do. We just had to continue the consistency, and yeah, that was really all that happened in the last phase of the race. Nothing. But anyway, we made a good strategy work. Going very, very long on the soft tyres. Wasn't really intentional, but we managed to turn a 2-stop into a 1-stop, and in the end, I really don't think, as we make a big mistake there, I was pushing for a faster slap, but pushed way too far there, and just kind of lost control on entry to the corner. But we continue, and yeah, we just couldn't. Yeah, if we went to intermediate tyres, if the track went to those conditions, I think we would have been in the money. But unfortunately, it'll just be P5 for us today.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
But I say that is still a very, very solid result for the team. It's just disappointing that I feel like we just got a bit unlucky with the weather. But, oh well.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here in Spielberg, and rightly so, a brilliant effort from the whole team. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So it's Lewis Hamilton who takes the race win for Mercedes, extending his championship lead as Bottas has another mechanical issue. Sebastian Vettel finishes P2 for Ferrari, with Max Verstappen in third for Red Bull.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to the scientists. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
Let's move on to the constructors. The current championship leaders still hold top spot, but that gap is getting smaller. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, that's the end of that. P5 after getting a grid drop to 12th is, I guess that's alright as the race goes, but it's disappointing. I thought, honestly, you know, partway through the race, I thought we were on for a podium, but, you know, every time we come around I check the weather, and it was always dry tyres are faster, dry tyres are faster, dry tyres are faster, and yeah, that opportunity never came. We dropped to 4th, dropped to 5th, dropped to 6th, and yeah, it just didn't work out for us, unfortunately. But in the end, I think if we pit slightly earlier, just by a couple of laps, I think we actually could have been on for maybe a 4th place, because we would have had better tyres for the rest of the race, pitting a bit later, sure, but we were losing seconds per lap. If we just bit 3 laps earlier onto the mediums, we would have been right on the back of Lance Stroll from the pace that we had. He was, I don't know, 7-ish seconds ahead of us at the start of the last stint, and you know, by the end we had caught him a little bit. So I think we could have been on for a fight for 4th with Stroll if we pit just, you know, 2, 3, maybe 4 laps earlier. But yeah, we just lost so much time on the old soft tyres, and it just didn't work out for us. But I don't know, maybe that rain also helped. Given our strategy, the slower cornering speeds definitely would have helped the tyre wear on those soft tyres. Otherwise, I don't think they could have gone that far. But yeah, it's still disappointing because I know we could have done so much more in this race. But at the end of the day, I can't complain about a P5 finish. We beat all of our main rivals, except for Lance Stroll. He did a superb job today, it has to be said. P4 in that Racing Point. It's a great effort. But yeah, is the way it is. We'll move on to the British Grand Prix and hope for more good results there.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Do you think that grid penalty was justified?
Well, I guess I can't really argue with it. We made a mistake at the start of the French Grand Prix and took out the pole sitter, so I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue with that penalty. Unfortunately, we'll just have to take it, and we made amends for it. So at the end of the day, I don't think it really had a huge effect on our race, strangely enough. But yeah, still, you know, it's disappointing to get it, but yeah, I can't argue with it. I think it was justified, and we'll try not to get any in the future.
You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy?
Yeah, well, when the rain started falling, I thought we would be able to switch to the inters, but as you saw, that didn't work.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit wild on the old tyres, but we managed to keep it under control and make the one-stop work.
How do you think this team will be feeling after that result?
Yeah, McLaren, I think they did alright in today's race. They probably could have done more with their second car, but SAINZ certainly did a great job.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thanks, Claire. Alright, so we lose a lot in the rivalry to Sebastian there. 12 to 16, still time to bring that back, but yeah. Oh well, we potentially might.
It's contract renewal time, so think about if this is where you still want to be. We can try and negotiate a better deal here, but we also have the chance to look elsewhere.
Thanks, Emma, for interrupting me. Yeah, we might actually lose that rivalry, Sebastian. I thought the R&D of the car would be able to sort of keep up with that, but anyway, we're going to go with the high-risk option here, as we have to renew our contract with Valtteri, and they don't like us anymore. But yeah, we're able to come back the next day and try again. I don't know how long we can actually do this for, and all the options are actually slightly lower. So this time, just to avoid any complications, we're going to go for the medium risk option, and that will still give us some extra money to spend on driver perks. So I mean, that's really all this. That's really what the only thing this affects is the perks, and I do want some perks. They are generally helpful, but anyway, we do get re-signed, so we will have enough money to get, I think, one driver perk, and we are going to go for the I think it's I forget what it's called, but oh, there it is. You can see it there, the power mapping one, to reduce our engine wear. But we have to do an invitational event, driving an old McLaren around Suzuka Short. Quite fun, actually, this one. I really did enjoy it. But yeah, we did just about manage to complete this, as you see, coming around the final corner here and just getting to the finish line with a couple of seconds to spare, and that will earn us a bunch of driver acclaim as we pass that one. But no money in it, unfortunately, in the driver career. But
recommend we could go for something like this.
As for R&D, this bit's recorded just after practice 3 in this round just gone, and we have a bunch of resource points from that. Engine side, we're looking okay, could be better. I mean, we're still behind Haas and Williams, so I mean, of course they started with better engines, but yeah, I don't know, it's always a bit tricky to decide on the engine side. If Honda are going to be bringing upgrades soon, we might not need to worry about it too much, but I mean, compared to Red Bull, we have a godly engine, but yeah, it's hard to decide, really. Aero, I think we're okay there. We're actually the 4th best team on the aero side, so that's even though we've only done 4 upgrades, 2 majors and 2 minors, it's made a huge difference on that side of things. But I think in the end we are going to go for the power upgrade on the engine side, the major. That's just it. Yeah, we always need more power. Power is very important. We've got some power tracks coming up in the not too distant future with Spa and Monza. But after the race itself, as we get the resource points between events, we'll also go for that chassis upgrade on the weight redistribution that Carl has been recommending to us, and that will come on the car in around the same time frame. So yeah, we'll have lots of upgrades coming, I think, for Hungary, but yeah, for Silverstone we're not going to have too much, but other than that, there is not too much else left to cover. So I will say thank you very much for watching all the way to the end, and I will see you next time when we go racing once again for the British Grand Prix. So thank you and goodbye.